Hey guys, what's up? It's the Rookie Revolution back with another video, and today we will be looking at some of the biggest what ifs in the challenge history. Basically what this means is a hypothetical situation in which something happened a little bit differently. For example, what happens if Abram didn't quit on the island? Would Bananas still be who he is today? I will be looking at some of these what ifs and saying what I think would have happened. Obviously it's impossible to say for sure what would have happened, but I'm going to try my best to make these as realistic as possible. With that said, let's get right into it.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the money and run, Teach.
The what if I want to talk about first is something I find very fun to speculate about. I've actually thought about this a lot as well. What if the veterans picked the rookie partners on War of the Worlds 1? We know a major twist was the rookies were picking the partners for this, but what if it was going to be more traditional, like a fresh meat, and the vets picked the partners? Vets always thought they were going to pick anyways.
Everyone thinks that it's going to be a veteran picking a prospect as a partner. Veterans are interviewing people.
You want to go? Let's go. Because if you want to go head to head, I'll pick you tomorrow as my partner. And I will go home because, bitch, I'm rich.
And we have lots of clips of the vets saying who they would have chosen. We will still be getting the picking order based on who finished in what place on the first challenge, so that doesn't change. Let's start with the partnerships that would have stayed the same. Polly was always going to pick Ninja. We all know that. Bananas had a crush on Morgan right away and absolutely was going to choose her.
In a perfect world, Morgan and I would be partners. We would have this amazing showmance together and then probably end up together for the rest of our lives.
Davon still has Bear because that's who she's always wanted. Cam and Ashley stay a pair. And the only other ones that don't change are Gus and Jenna and Natalie and JP. So we only have 6 partnerships that stay the same. We still have 10 teams. Let's look at the new ones. Okay, so CT would be the next to pick, and he would have chosen Georgia. CT and Georgia had talks in the beginning, and CT was all in on picking Georgia. So I assume he stays true to that.
If I have the opportunity to pick you as a teammate, I think it'd be a good fit.
Hope you do. I think you will too.
Nani either picks Theo or Chase, but due to the fact that Chase kind of creeped her out a little bit, I'm going to assume she makes a smart choice and takes Theo. Zach is next, and believe it or not, Zach picks D. Zach has said D is who he wanted in the beginning, and I believe him.
Actually, who I said I wanted to be with was D.
Ashley is next, and Ashley is one I really couldn't figure out. I could see her picking Gus just in spite of Hunter. She didn't want to be paired with Chase, who she was originally with. This is the hardest one, but I can see Ashley picking Turbo just due to him being intimidating. Leroy picks Maddie, as that is the obvious choice of everyone left. Amanda picks Chase over Gus. Wes picks Julia to continue his streak of getting blonde fresh meat partners. Hunter, I guess, picks Zahida for the UK alliance, and Kyle is with Shea Legend, which leaves Cara and Maria with Josh.
Josh would be the one that if we're doing a partnership thing, I should be partners with Josh.
I am personally loving these pairs and would have loved to see how it would have played out. Please leave a comment below with your predictions on how the season would have played out with these pairs. Okay, next is a really fun one. What if CT and Tina never came in as mercenaries on Cutthroat? This is where the infamous Bananas backpack happened. Would it still happen if Bananas went against Tyler? Would Tori still be able to get a better time than Teresa if they were really up against each other? Does this change a lot in the future? My personal theory on this is no, it really doesn't change that much. Tyler and Bananas obviously would not have the same effect as Bananas versus CT, but Cutthroat was Bananas at his skinniest and leanest, and Tyler was at his heaviest and bulkiest.
Tyler's strategy has basically been to eat.
It would have been a pretty good win for Tyler, even though Bananas puts up more of a fight. They argued about this for a long time in the reunion as well.
Tyler would have went against him first. I mean, the whole outcome could have,
absolutely
been completely different.
If I toss around CT, you don't think I can toss around your ass?
I also personally think Teresa beats Tori if they actually went up against each other. Teresa went first against Tina and really tired her out, and she just couldn't give as much effort for Tori. I think Teresa and Tori would be the more well-known elimination, as they actually both wanted it really badly, and they were similar in size, so it would have been very close to a stalemate. I think Teresa barely wins. I say this doesn't change much because I still think the red team wins even without Tori, and the blue team comes in third even with Teresa. But Bananas backpack, I mean, come on, I can't imagine a world without that.
And he carries his custom-made Johnny Bananas backpack to the barrel in about 5 seconds.
Next is, what if Laurel won her elimination against Ninja on War of the Worlds 2? I have to say, this would have changed everything. Whoever won, Ninja or Laurel, it was going to change the whole outcome of the season. We all all know what happened when Ninja won. The Paulie and Cara alliance dominated the entire season, but that probably would not have happened if Laurel won. Bananas and Laurel would have a lock on the numbers if Laurel comes back, and instead of Bananas going home next, I doubt he even sees an elimination on the season. I think Paulie and Cara are probably going to be repeatedly thrown into eliminations until they leave, or I could see Paulie and Cara turncoating to the UK, like Jordan and Tori did. This would have been so interesting. And if you think about it, this season would have been the same thing of picking off the opposing alliance. It's just the opposite alliance now with Laurel and Bananas coming on top. Paulie and Cara were given the villain edit on this season, so I assume that edit would have gone to Bananas and Laurel. I honestly feel like maybe this season would have been more highly regarded. Probably not though. I think the Team US final consists of Bananas, Laurel, Nani, Jordan, Tori, and Leroy, and maybe even Josh. I honestly can't imagine because it just would have been so different. And saying all of this makes me so curious of what could have been.
Ninja has won. We went from being on cloud 9 in complete control of this game to now who the knows what's gonna happen.
Next is another one I think about a lot, and it's what if Zach and Trey don't DQ on the elimination against Ty and Leroy and win the elimination on Rivals 2? Zach made a boneheaded move, but let's say they ended up winning. How do Trey and Zach do on the rest of the season? I first want to say, although it was stupid, it did seem like Trey and Zach really had real animosity against each other and just couldn't communicate well.
The one thing that I learned about Zach is that he's a really, really big insecure bitch.
I have no respect for him. I think he's lower than dirt. If there was a fire on him, I wouldn't piss on him to put it out.
With that being said, they did win the first 2 daily challenges and were top performers until they went home. Zach and Trey were an intimidating duo that I don't see many of the guys being comfortable going against. I see Zach and Trey continuing to do well in dailies, maybe winning 1 or 2 more, and making the final. The problem is, I don't really see them getting more than 3rd or 2nd place. It comes down to the same race to the boat that Jordan and Marlon versus Bananas and Frank had. Maybe they could have beaten Bananas and Frank on the kayak since Trey and Zach are better swimmers than Marlon.
Getting farther and farther away.
He's not even in Thailand anymore.
But still, I don't see them beating Wes and CT. The biggest thing that would change from this really is Trey potentially being on more seasons. Lastly, we have, what if Abram never quit on the island? Oh boy. This might be one of the most popular what ifs ever. Okay, so Abram had some emergencies he had to take care of back at home, and he begged his fellow islanders to let him go home. Even with Abram asking and explaining his emergency, the island was still split, and it was a 9-6 vote sending Abram home, just barely keeping Johnny in the game.
Abram, Johnny, I'm gonna send you home.
Wishes.
Sending Johnny home.
Oh.
Johnny, Johnny home. Johnny, I don't really like you. So I'm sending you home. I send you home.
Send you back.
Johnny had his opponent begging to go home, but still, he was so hated that he almost went home.
And I'm gonna ask you all to go ahead and let me go back to my own home.
People are voting Johnny off, even though Abram told everyone to send him home. Like, that's pretty weird.
The big question would be, would Johnny still be who he is today? Well, let's say Johnny goes home. That is 3 out of 4 early exits on all of his challenges so far, as the Ruins was his first win. So without him winning the island, he might have gone on the duel too, which honestly, I can't predict how he would have done. He probably would have made the final 4 or 5. Let's say he still doesn't go on the duel 2 though, and goes on the Ruins. He would be on the Challengers team and not the Champions team, which would take his 2nd win away from him. Johnny, instead of being a 2-time champ at the time, would have not been a champ at all. He could have still won Rivals with Tyler, but who knows if he's even still relevant enough to be cast for another season. Johnny would probably not be the face of the show, and at most would have 5 or 6 wins if he did the Duel 2 or Fresh Meat 2, but just maybe. The reality of this what if though is that if Abram didn't need to go home, Abram wouldn't have volunteered to go into the face-off. So who knows who would have been in the vote with Johnny. It could have been someone he stays in a landslide to, like Dunbar. I do think Abram wins this season, but it would be a toss-up if Johnny's even in the final boat, which I'm guessing he would be. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your favorite challenge what-ifs and thoughts in the comments below. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links in the description. I actually update about my upcoming videos on Twitter. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out more than you know. And until next time, take care.